Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Gavin, I thought I paused the video and apparently I just ended the stream. So then I had to start the stream again. No worries. Um, okay. So I was almost finished here. Let's keep going. All good, Gavin. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Okay. So it said, so we're up to, so Vaychi Enosh Tishim Shana Ve'elad Kenan, Vaychi Enosh Achar Yelidos Kenan Chamesh Esrei Shana, Ushmona Mea Shana, Ve'elad Banim Vanos. So after the birth of Canaan, Enosh lived for 815 years. Vayu Kol Yimei Enosh Chamesh Shanim, Usham Mea Shana Vayamos. And all the days of Enosh was 905 years, and then he died. Vaychi Canaan Shivim Shana, Ve'elad is Mahalalel, and then Canaan lived for 70 years, and then he gave birth to Mahalalel. I don't know if all these people have like stories, like if there's like a rabbinic tradition about what this guy Mahalalel, like I don't know if all these I'm my understanding is that some of these people we don't even have like stories about what their life was like and what they accomplished. So it is interesting that the Torah goes through all these names when I don't even think all of them we necessarily have a tradition of what their life was. But I actually have no idea if what I'm saying is accurate or not. Vaychi Canaan Acharei Yelido is Mahalel, and after the birth of Mahalel, Canaan lived for Arbim Shana Ushmona Shana, another 840 years. Vayoled Banim Vanos, and he had sons and daughters. Vayu Kol Yimei Canaan Eser Shanim Usham Shana Vayamos. And all the days of Canaan came to 910 years, and then he died. Vaychi Mahalel Chamesh Shanim V'Shishim Shana. And then when Mahalel was 65 years, Vayoled es Yared, he gave birth to Yared. Yared's like an interesting name because that's the root of that word means to go downwards. I don't know if that's what it means here, but that's the root of that word means to go downward. So that's interesting that those three letters are in his name. Vayechi Mahalel Acharei Halido es Yared Shoshim Shana Ushmona Meo Shana, and Mahalel lived another 830 years afterwards. Vayoled Banim Banos, and he had sons and daughters. Vayu Kol Yimei Mahalel Chamesh V'Sishim Shana Ushmona Meo Shana Vayamos, and then Mahalel lived till 895 years. Vayechi Yared Shtayim V'Shishim Shana U'Ma'ashana Vayoled es Chanoch, and then Yared lived for 162 years, and then he gave birth to Chanoch. Vayechi Yared Acharei Lidos Chanoch, and after the birth of Chanoch, Shmona Mea Shana V'Elad Banim Vanos, he lived another 800 years. Vayu Kol Yimei Shtayim V'Shishim Shana Usham Meo Shana Vayamos, and Yared lived till 962 years old. Vayechi Chanoch Chamesh V'Shishim Shana, and Chanoch lived for 65 years. Vayoled es Mesushalach, and then they gave birth to Mesushalach. Vayisalech Chanoch es Elohim Acharei Halidos Mesushalach, and Chanoch walked with God after giving birth to Mesushalach. Shlosh Meo Shana Vayoled Banim Vanos. So he lived for an additional 300 years, and this expression of walking with God is obviously a very high accolade. I don't know if you could say that term, accolade, but obviously this is a very deep expression of the righteousness of Chanoch. Vayhi Kol Yimei Chanoch Chamesh V'Shishim Shana Ushalosh Meo Shana, and Chanoch lived for a total of 365 years. Vayishalech Chanoch es Elohim, and Chanoch walked with God. Ve'ineno ki lakach oso Elohim, and then he was no more because God took him. So I think some of the commentaries, I don't know if it's listed and talk about. Let me see if I could pull it up here. Tzaddik. So I'm just reading the commentary of Rashi here to see what he says here. He says Tzaddikaya v'kal b'daito l'shuv l'arshia, that Chanoch was a righteous man, and but it would, his mind, it would have been easy for him to become evil. Lefikach mihar HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'silko ve'imiso kodem zmano. Therefore, God took him before his time. V'zeu sheshin hakasa mimisasa likso ve'inenu ba'olam lemalus shinosav. So that's why it says, that's why it doesn't use the terminology like all the other figures we've spoken about so far, that he died. It uses the expression of ve'inenu, that he's no longer in the world, because it's as if to say he wasn't there because of this calculation that God made. He wasn't there in the world to fulfill the proper time, meaning people lived in those days to 800, 900 years old, but God sort of plucked him out of the world because God was afraid he would become evil. Since he had kal b'daito, which means, I guess he was, I don't know if it's translated as impulsive, or it literally means light in knowledge. That's what it literally means. Interesting. I thought there were commentaries that talk about that he didn't actually die. That's what I was looking for. But maybe I made that up. I don't know. That's what I understood was the reason why it doesn't say expression of death for Hanoch, but I am not sure. Okay, let me go back to where I was here before. Okay. Vayechi Metushelach Sheva Ushmonim Shana Umashana Vayoladas Lamach. And Metushelach lived for 887 years, and he and his wife gave birth to Lemach. Vayechi Metushelach Acharidos Lamach Shtayim Ushmonim Shana Ushva Meyoshana Vayoladas Banavanos. And after the birth of Lamech, Metushelach lived for 782 years, and he had sons and daughters. Gavin said, "I was told Enoch did not die." Yes, that's what I thought. I thought that was the what the verse is saying there, but I have to check which commentary says it. I'm sure it's somewhere in the rabbinic literature, but I did not. I'll have to look into that after the stream. And Lemech lived for 182 years, and then he had a son. Vayikra Shemo Noach, and he called his son Noach, Lemar Ze Yinachameu Mimaseu Umi'itzvah Nudenu. This one will provide us relief from our work and from the toil of our hands. Min Adam Asher Hashem, from the soil that God has cursed. Let's see what the commentaries say on this. Wait, let me see if I can pull that up. Still struggling how to figure out how to work this thing. So basically, this text of this entire chapter is leading up to this moment of when Noach is born. Doesn't look like there's a Rashi on this. Is there a Rashi on this verse? So interesting. So Rashi talks about how Noach was the one that created tools to work the earth, and that was his level of comfort. When I look at the verse without looking at the commentaries, I assume that the comfort that Noach is providing is a deeper level of comfort than just the physical realm, because as his name, as we're going to see in the next chapters, he obviously saves the world from catastrophe. So I see that as the reason why he's called Noach, because he ends up when the world falls apart, he's the one that essentially saves it because of his righteousness and his differentiation from the other people. There's also an idea in the Talmud that your name is sort of a predictor of the future, in a sense. Um, but I in this moment, it's also interesting. Meaning they're calling him Noach, obviously at birth, so it's before he obviously invents these tools. So it's interesting that Rashi, I guess Rashi is saying that that is the one of Noah, I guess Noah's greatest contribution is the creation of the tools to work the land. Um, I guess that it even exceeds the fact that he saved the world during the flood. So that's just interesting. Okay, continuing on. Oh, also another point is my younger brother name is Noah, so the name itself is meaningful for me since that's my younger brother's name. Vayechi Lemach acharei halidos Noach, and after the birth of Noach, after the birth of Noach, Lemach lived Chamesh v'shishim shana, 595 years. Vayolid banim v'banos, and he had sons and daughters. Vahi kol yemei Lemach sheva v'shishim shana, and Lemach lived for 770 years. Vayamos, and then he died. Vayechi Noach ben Chamesh mei shana, and Noach lived for 500 years. Vayolid Noach es Shem es Cham ves Yafes, and Noach had 3 children: Shem, Cham, and Yafes. And that is the end of chapter 5. I think chapter 6 already gets into the next parsha, which gets into the story of the flood. Okay, that is this chapter. I hope I could start doing these a little more often so we can cover some ground. If someone wants to jump in, I could share the link and we could chat for a few. How do I share the link? I always forget. Let's see if I can figure this out. Oh, here it is. Someone wants to jump on, just chat for a minute. That's fine. If not, I'll just end the stream. I mainly just really want to I haven't done one of these in a few weeks. I really wanted just to get back in the game so I could start moving through these chapters. It's interesting to read just the verses out loud in this manner. Also, it reminds me of, even though I learned this as a child and was taught this as a child, just missing just so many basic points, and it's really just gratifying to go through it again, read it out loud, even if I don't understand exactly what's happening, and even if I end up with more questions than when I started. It really is a joy to do this, I think. And I'm especially intrigued as we get deeper in, where I guess just the farther you get into Genesis, I think the stories get less and less press, if you can call it. Obviously, the story of Adam and Eve, and Cain and Abel are stories that everyone talks about ad nauseum. And I think the stories that we're going to get to over the next several weeks will hopefully are territory that isn't as mapped, I guess you could say. Okay, I'm going to end the stream, and looking forward to seeing you all next time. I really appreciate everyone joining. Have a great night.